Today I'm going to show you how to make this decadent white chocolate raspberry cheesecake. These are the ingredients that you'll need. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is get my crust ready. I've got some chocolate sandwich cookies here, and I just split those apart, took off the cream filling, and broke those up into pieces. You could use Oreos, chocolate sandwich cookies, you could even use chocolate animal crackers, and that would be fine. I'm going to put those into my food processor, put the lid on, and I'm going to pulse this until they are fine crumbs. And this is the consistency that you're looking for. You don't want any big chunks of cookies left. Then I transfer those crumbs into a plastic baggie so I can easily measure this. I'm going to measure out 3 cups of crumbs and put those back into my food processor. And when you get 3 cups of crumbs in there, you want to add in 10 tablespoons of melted butter. You heard that right, 10 tablespoons. Just pour that in. I like to give it a little mix with a spoon so the butter doesn't go flying when I turn this on. I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to turn my food processor back on until the butter gets evenly distributed and I get nice moist crumbs. Next, I'm going to pour those crumbs into a 9-inch springform pan. You definitely want to use a springform pan for your cheesecake. It makes getting the cheesecake out a heck of a lot easier. You can get them for as little as $5 at Walmart or any big box retailer. And I'm going to start working on the outside, and I'm going to press the cookie crumbs up about 2/3 of the way up the side of my springform pan. You want to make sure and get an even layer all the way around your pan. And once you get your sides covered, you can go ahead and spread out the crumbs on the bottom and press this down firmly. Before I start mixing up my batter, I'm going to take 8 ounces, which is 1 cup of white chocolate. I'm using Nestle chocolate chips. If you want to use real white chocolate, by all means you can. You want to put those in the microwave for about a minute or so, and you want to make sure and stir that every 30 seconds so you don't burn them. And you want to keep going until they are nice and smooth. Next, for the cheesecake itself, I've got 4 8-ounce packages of cream cheese here that is room temperature. I've put those into my stand mixer. I'm going to turn my mixer on low. And I'm going to beat the cream cheese for a good 2 to 3 minutes to make sure that it's nice and smooth. And before I get going too far, I want to scrape down the sides of my bowl and my beater bar and turn my mixer back on. Make sure there are no lumps in your cream cheese, because once you start mixing the batter up, you're not going to be able to get the lumps out. I'm going to add in my sugar, and I'm going to mix this. And again, before I add anything else, I'm going to scrape down my beater bar and my bowl. And this is very important. You want to make sure that every time you add something to your batter, you stop the mixer, scrape down your beater bar and your bowl. I'm going to turn my mixer back on. Next, I'm going to start adding in my eggs. You want to add your eggs in one at a time and make sure that they are incorporated before adding any more eggs in. I've got 2 whole large eggs here. I'm also going to add in an egg yolk, and I'm going to mix this just until it comes together. And then you want to stop your mixer, and again, scrape down your beater bar and your bowl. I'm going to finish adding in the rest of my eggs, which is 2 more whole eggs added one at a time, and another egg yolk. And you want to make sure not to overbeat this. You just want to mix this until the eggs are incorporated. If you overmix this, you're going to have problems with your cheesecake rising up and puffing, and then ultimately you're going to have a cheesecake that sinks in the middle. That's not what you're looking for, so be sure to only mix until it is just incorporated. And then you want to stop your mixer, and again, scrape down your beater bar and your bowl. Next, I'm going to add in my flour. Just kind of helps with the consistency a little bit. And using a spatula, I'm just going to gently start mixing that in so the flour doesn't go flying when I turn my mixer on. Then I'm going to add in my vanilla extract. And finally, my melted white chocolate. Again, I'm going to turn my mixer on, and I'm just going to run this for about 20 seconds or so until that flour, vanilla, and white chocolate is incorporated into the cream cheese mixture. Again, scrape down my beater bar and the sides of the bowl, and I'm going to mix this one more time just for a few seconds, just to make sure that it's all incorporated. Then I'm going to pour out my batter into my prepared crust. Make sure and scrape all that goodness out of that bowl. And you can see how nice and silky smooth this batter is. And that comes from beating your cream cheese before adding any more ingredients at the very beginning. For the swirl, I'm going to be using this canned raspberry filling. Next time I make this, I will not use this. I'll go back to what I originally was using, and that is the raspberry filling that they use to fill the donuts in the bakeries. You can go to any bakery and ask them for a little container of the raspberry filling, and they will usually sell it to you for just a few dollars. That is mostly seedless. This canned stuff is mostly seeds. And I just put that in the microwave for about 30 seconds to warm it up a little bit. And I'm going to drop it by spoonfuls onto the top of my batter. And using a knife, going in an up and down motion, I'm going to swirl this into the batter. Now, you don't want to go overboard with this because you don't want to mix the pie filling in with your cheesecake batter. You just want to get a swirled effect. And I was having a little bit of problems with this pie filling swirling in properly. The donut filling swirls in much better. Now, I have tried making cheesecake in a water bath plenty of times, doubling up the foil and putting it around the bottom of the springform pan. It always leaks on me. So thank you to America's Test Kitchen for recommending this idea. They put their springform pans into a larger cake pan. I just happen to have a larger cake pan in my pantry. It is what I use for my Chicago stuffed pizza, and it fits perfectly, and this will prevent any water from getting into your cheesecake and ruining your crust. And I put the whole shebang into a large foil roaster. And while my oven was preheating and I got my batter poured into my crust, I was boiling a large pot of water on the stove. And then I transferred that into a pitcher so I could easily pour it. And you want to pour that boiling water into the roaster, being careful not to splash it up into your cheesecake. And you want to bake your cheesecake at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. Then you want to turn your oven down to 250 degrees and leave it in there for 1 hour and 20 minutes. After 120 minutes is up, go ahead and turn the oven off and let your cheesecake sit in there for a good 3 hours. And then put it into the refrigerator and chill it overnight. And the next day you can pop off the ring around your springform pan. And baking cheesecake this way yields a perfect cheesecake every time. There are no cracks in the top. It does not sink in the middle. It's just a perfect cheesecake, just like you will find at any cheesecake shop. And slice your cheesecake into slices and go ahead and serve it up. And there you have it, how to make white chocolate raspberry cheesecake. Hope you guys enjoy, and thanks so much for watching.